This is Jarrod Horak, and in this video, I will analyze the Belmont Stakes and give out my top choice. Now, they ran a card today at Saratoga. That was the first day of the Belmont Stakes Festival. They're running 5 days this week. And for Wednesday, June 4th, my full card highlights are on the screen now. And for the fourth race, I had the Bank Frenzy Mama's Gold Exacta. That one paid $27.40. In the sixth race, my best bet K-Cup got the job done. I had the double in races 6 and 7. In race 8, Bernie Takes Charge Sterling Silver had that exacta at $39.80. I had the pick 3, races 6 through 8 for $538. And then in race 10, I had the Coach Chase Sir Oscar exacta at $45.40 and the trifecta for $238. So a solid start to the Belmont Stakes full cards this week. And now let's see how the main track played on Wednesday. On the main track, there were 4 races, 2 at 7 furlongs and 2 at a mile and an eighth. For the 7 furlong races, the front runner won the first race at 7 furlongs. And then the second 7 furlong race, a favorite stalked from the outside in third and got the job done. And at the mile and an eighth distance, a stalker from second wore down the front runner. And then the final race at a mile and an eighth, a 9-1 front runner won at that 9 furlong distance. So speed was pretty good today. And horses with early pressing speed, they typically do well on the main track at Saratoga. And even looking back at the Belmont Stakes last year, we saw Dornoch chase from second from post 6, and he beat Mindframe stalking the pace from the outside post, and he won by a half length. And then the closing favorite there was Sierra Leone, and he ended up rallying to finish third. And in the Travers at a mile and a quarter last year, Fierceness, he stalked from the outside post, and he beat inside stalker Torpedo Anna. And then Sierra Leone was the favorite again. He was closing, and he rallied to finish third. So based on the Belmont Week results from last year, and including the Belmont and Travers and the June 4th program earlier today, getting into a forward position is a definite advantage on the main track at Saratoga. Now, there is a chance of rain at Saratoga on Friday and Saturday, so I'll keep a close eye on the weather. And I might do a wet track video tomorrow night if it looks like there's a good possibility of a wet track on Saturday. Now we're going to look at the Belmont field. We're going to try to figure out how the race will be run, which horses will benefit from the projected race flow. And now we will look at the field, and it's going to be the 13th race at Saratoga on Saturday, June 7th. And the Belmont has a $2 million purse. They're going to be running a mile and a quarter on the main track, and it's for 3-year-olds. And the post time is 7:04 p.m. Eastern Time. Breaking from the inside post is Hill Road, and we just talked about how the track played. And for Hill Road, he's a closer, so he's going to need some pace help. He's going to need a more fair racetrack on Saturday. We'll have to see how the track plays the rest of the week. I mentioned how speed was good last year, how speed was good on Wednesday. We'll keep a close eye on the track and see how it's playing. But it is an advantage to have a horse right up on the pace. And Hill Road is not that kind of horse. He likes to run late. He's got some decent late pace ratings, so he'll be sitting back, saving ground, and trying to get involved late. Now, he won the Peter Pan last time out. Flavien Prat was his rider, but Flavien Prat's going to ride Baeza in this race, so Irad Ortiz Jr. is his new rider. So he's going to need pace help. He's going to save ground, rally late, and he's going to need a good bit of pace help as well. Number 2 in here is Sovereignty. He's your Kentucky Derby winner. He's run 6 times overall with 3 wins and 2 runner-up finishes. And for that Kentucky Derby, he had post 16. He had a good closing trip there, and he was able to shadow journalism. That was the key to success there. Because journalism wasn't able to get as forward as they wanted him to be, mainly because Citizen Bull from the inside post, he broke out a bit of a chain reaction that caused some of the horses that wanted to be closer to the pace. They didn't have the position that they wanted in the early going. So journalism was further back than they wanted him. And then Sovereignty and Junior Alvarado, they were able to take up a position, see where journalism was, and just follow him. So when journalism made his move, Sovereignty made his move. Journalism did not have enough of a cushion over Sovereignty to be able to hold him off, and Sovereignty was able to win the Kentucky Derby by a length and a half. And then Journalism was second, Baeza was third there. Prior to that, he rallied to finish second in the Florida Derby, and then the Fountain of Youth Stakes, he rallied to win that race. So for Sovereignty, he continues to train well. He's one that always didn't train well, but prior to the Kentucky Derby, he really had his mind on business. He was really coming up to a good race, and he ran a quality race there. He continues to train well here. The key is going to be what kind of closing trip is he going to get, and is he going to get enough pace help? Number 3, Rodriguez. He's definitely the one to catch in here, but he hasn't run since the April 5th Wood Memorial when he went wire to wire, and he took blinkers off that day. He was supposed to run in the Kentucky Derby, but he had a foot issue, and they had to scratch He was supposed to run in the Preakness, but they were never able to enter him because that foot issue lingered. And then they just got him ready for the Belmont. He's been working good. He's the controlling speed in here, it looks like on paper. He's the main speed anyway. He's the inside speed because the two horses to his inside, Hill Road and Sovereignty, are both closers. So Rodriguez, if he gets a good start, should be able to scoot right over to the rail and set the pace. And it's just a question of fitness for him because he is coming off of that 9-week layoff and he's meeting horses that have been running in these Triple Crown Series races, and they have a lot of quality as well. And then also he's met Journalism before, and Journalism beat him by 11 lengths. So he's going to have to run much better than he did in the San Felipe, and he did exactly that in the Wood Memorial. Not sure how strong overall the Wood Memorial was, but from the inside post, he was able to control the pace under Mike Smith and keep on going, and he looks like the one to catch. Number 4, Uncaged. He's 30-1 morning line for trainer Todd Pletcher, and he looks overmatched in here. He was 6th, beaten 10 lengths in the Peter Pan. That was his first stake start. He won a couple races, a maiden special weight race in the mud and an optional claiming race in the mud. So if it's a wet track, maybe he moves up, but even his wet track numbers much lower than the top contenders in this race. And the top 3 horses in the Kentucky Derby, they all ran on a wet track that day, and they ran well. And so that I don't think a wet track's going to bother any of those horses. Number 5, Crudo, and he is Uncaged stablemate, and this one is 15-1 morning line. He's very lightly raced. He was 4th in his debut. He was the heavy favorite, and he was stalking the pace, and he weakened there, finished 4th, beaten 7 lengths in a 10-horse field. Second time out, he was able to go right to the front. He controlled the pace. The fractions were slow, 24, 47, and 4, 112 for 7 furlongs, and he just kept on going, and he won by 7 lengths. Nice, visually impressive win, but controlling the pace. And then in the Sir Barton, on the Preakness undercard, he was able from the inside post to get out there and control the pace under John Velasquez, and he won by more than 7 lengths there, his first start around 2 turns. Third start after a layoff. He's not the only speed in here. He exits back-to-back wire-to-wire wins. But as I mentioned, Rodriguez, number 3, he's got speed. He wants to be in front. He's got the inside position. So I would expect that Rodriguez is probably going to be quicker in the early going than Crudo. Number 6, Baeza. He's an interesting contender in here. 5 starts, 1 win, 2 seconds, and a third. So he's still eligible for an entry-level allowance race, but he has a lot of ability and he has a lot of upside as well. It was a good effort in his maiden win, breaking his maiden by more than 4 lengths after finishing 7 lengths behind Rodriguez in a flat mile maiden special weight race in January. So then he broke his maiden in February, and then he stepped right up to face Journalism in the Santa Anita Derby. He stalked outside. He had the lead. Journalism was stuck inside, and Barnes had him pinned in, and then Journalism was able to work his way out of that and close down Baeza there to win that one, and it was well back to the show finisher. And then in the Kentucky Derby, he had the outside post. He was also eligible. He drew into the field, so he was stuck in the outside post, but he ran a good race. He ended up finishing 3rd there, and he's one that a lot of upside. 5 starts between 5 weeks between starts. He handled the slop last time. 3rd start after a layoff. They paid a lot of money for him, $1.2 million, and Flavien Prat got to know him last time, and he's one that should be stalking the pace. Journalism is your morning line favorite. He's number 7, and he's 8-5 morning line with Umberto Rispoli, his regular rider. Michael McCarthy, the trainer here, and he's 5 for 7 with a 2nd and a 3rd. He's tough to beat in these 2-turn stakes races. He's got the best speed ratings in this field and the best late pace ratings as well. So overall, he's just the fastest horse on paper, but he did not win the Kentucky Derby. But before the Kentucky Derby, he broke his maiden when he stretched out 2nd time out after finishing 3rd in his sprint debut. And then his next start around 2 turns was the Los Al Futurity, and he tracked from 2nd there. He was between 2nd and 3rd, never further than a length off the lead, and he was able to kick away and win nicely in that race. In the San Felipe, never more than a couple lengths off the lead, and he was able to win that one nicely, and that was one of the fastest prep races of the season. And then the Santa Anita Derby, from the inside post, he had all that trouble, and as I said, Barnes had him hemmed in. He was able to get out, and he was able to run down Baeza, and Baeza had a nice clean outside trip that day. In the Kentucky Derby, he had a good trip overall, but it is the Kentucky Derby. It was 19 horses. It's never completely clean for a lot of horses. And for Journalism, as I said, Citizen Bull came out at the start, caused a chain reaction, and Journalism was in that. He just wasn't able to get as much early position as they wanted to get him in. They wanted him to be about 5 lengths back early. He was somewhere between 8 and 10 lengths back, but he made a nice move, but he didn't have enough cushion over Sovereignty, another closer, and Sovereignty was able to wear him down and win the race. and Journalism held off Baeza by a neck for second there. And then in the Preakness Stakes, again, all kinds of trouble. He had post 2, stuck down on the inside again, and he was stuck between a Clever again, your tiring pace setter, and then you had Goal Oriented with only 2 lifetime starts for Bob Baffert, and Journalism was stuck between them. He had nowhere to go. He bullied his way through, and he came closing with a rush to beat Gosger there by a half length. It just didn't look possible that he was going to win that race, but he did. That was a good effort visually, and for him, now he's got a much more comfortable post. And then Heart of Honor, he had a slow start, off slow. He was fractious in the gate. He raced wide. He finished 5th in a 9-horse field in the Preakness Stakes. He's going to need a better start here to contend for a top award. So I think the key to this race is we talked about how the track plays typically at Saratoga, looked at last year's Belmont, looked at last year's Travers, looked at the races from earlier today, seeing what kind of race shape we're expecting here. And most likely, as I said, from the inside of post 3, you're going to see Rodriguez probably going out and trying to set the pace. And you're going to see Crudo probably chasing from second and trying to come after him. Now, Baeza in post 6, he does have tactical speed. He's one that in the Santa Anita Derby and his maiden win, he was within striking distance. He made a nice early move in the Santa Anita Derby to get right up into contention, got the jump on Journalism, but he couldn't hold him off. And then he didn't really have the run of the race from post 19 in the Kentucky Derby. They just did what they had to do there. Pratt had to keep him out of trouble and then try to save some ground at some point. He did, and it was a solid effort. But I think Baeza is going to revert to tactical tactics in this race, and I think he's going to be maybe sitting 3rd or 4th. And then Journalism, this time from post 7, it could be a whole new ballgame. Now, he's already finished in front of Baeza twice, and now he has that outside position. I think of the 3 horses coming out of the Kentucky Derby, Sovereignty, Baeza, and Journalism, he got the best post because he was stuck down in post 2 in the Preakness and post 1 in the Santa Anita Derby. In his last 3 starts, he won 2 of those, the Santa Anita Derby and the Preakness, and then the Kentucky Derby he was second. And he did not have ideal trips in any of those races. But in the Kentucky Derby, after that early trouble, he did have an okay trip. But for Journalism, outside, I'm expecting him to do something like he did in the Low-South Futurity. They're going to be up there. They've already defeated Bob Baffert trainees in all of these stakes races. In the Low-South Futurity, the San Felipe, the Santa Anita Derby, the Kentucky Derby, and the Preakness, he faced Bob Baffert trainees, and he beat them all, including Rodriguez by 11 lengths in the San Felipe. So for Journalism, I just think he kind of knows that he's maybe a better horse than Rodriguez, and also Rodriguez coming off that 9-week layoff. So I think Umberto Rispoli is going to either try to sit in 3rd place outside of Rodriguez and Crudo, or he's going to let Baeza sit in 3rd, and he's just going to shadow him and then try to get the jump on Sovereignty, who's stuck down towards the inside. So the key to Sovereignty's success is he's going to need a good race flow and a good closing trip. He'll probably be saving ground closing in this race, but for him, he's going to need some running room. He's going to need the pace to be honest, because now he won't be able to shadow Journalism like he did in the Kentucky Derby, because he's down in post 2, Journalism's out in post 7, and he's got the clear run of the race. And I'm going to pick Journalism as my top choice. He was my top choice in the Derby and Preakness, ran well both times based on that post position draw, and I'm not really too concerned about the 3 weeks of 3 races in 5 weeks. Over the years, we've seen many horses run in the Triple Crown Series in all 3 races. And some of them handle it and some don't. And Journalism seems to handle less time between starts. He had a really good workout for this. Michael McCarthy would not be running him unless he thought he could win this race. So I just think the way that the race flow looks, I'm not sure that Rodriguez can go all the way for a start in 9 weeks. And then Crudo, I don't think he's good enough to jump up and beat a field like this. He's so lightly raced, and you had a lot of quality in there. Baeza can certainly win the race, and he'll have a clean run. But I think with Journalism's post position, he's outside of Baeza, and Rispoli should be able to make the right moves in here. So Journalism will be my top choice. I definitely think Baeza can win. And then Sovereignty down on the inside. He'll need a bit more luck than the other 2, but he's got a lot of ability. He's plenty of time between starts. Seems to be coming up to the race in good order. It's just that the running style and post positions difference between him down on the inside, probably trying to work out a closing trip over a track that typically favors speed against horses like Baeza number 6 and Journalism number 7, where they have good tactical speed and good outside posts. So they're going to be able to work out clean trips. So I just think maybe they'll have the edge over Sovereignty, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sovereignty ran another quality race. So Journalism's going to be my top choice in this Belmont Stakes at 1.25 miles at Saratoga on Saturday, June 7th. And they will be conducting 4 more days of live racing at Saratoga for Belmont Week, June 5th through 8th. And I'll be covering all of those Belmont Week full cards, including Belmont Stakes Day on June 7th. You can purchase my full cards individually, or you can get weekly and weekend packages as well. And I have completed my June 5th full card, so that one's on my site now. I'm still working on the Friday, June 6th. I'll have that one done soon. And my Belmont Day card for Saturday, June 7th will be finished tomorrow night. You can find my full cards at therunawayrhorse.com on my shop page, and I will add a link to the Runaway Horse Shop page in the video description below. I've been covering full cards online since the late 1990s. I've had a lot of success. I had good success this year with my Kentucky Derby and Preakness full cards. I'm up over $1,400 with my suggested Kentucky Derby and Preakness wagers, and I've hit the Belmont in 8 of the last 11 years. So let's see if we can get more success this year. And stay tuned for more Saratoga video coverage on my channel in the coming days. I'm going to be doing some handicapping videos after I get these full cards done. And like, comment, and share these videos if you like them, and subscribe to my channel as well. It's free to subscribe. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races and good luck in the Belmont Stakes.